Welcome, everyone. I'm Ashley Pfeifenberger. I am the Senior Global Recruiter with Beacon Hill Staffing Group. I'm responsible for all of our entry-level hiring for the Midwest. And I'm excited to chat with our distinguished IU alumni today about their careers in staffing. So a little overview about Beacon Hill. So we are a privately owned national staffing firm. We're headquartered in Boston, opened up our doors in the year 2000. Now we're in over 50 locations across the country, over 800 employees and growing, and 8 different specialty divisions.
Hi, everybody. My name is Krista Rocky. I'm with the Beacon Hill Technologies Division in Indianapolis. So I sit right here in Indiana. I've been with Beacon Hill since 2008. I'm a graduate of Indiana University in Bloomington in 1994. I was a English and Spanish double major, bachelor's degree. And while on campus, I was involved in Delta Theta sorority, IU dance marathon, and just intramural sports.
My name is Hannah Horvath. I am a senior staffing consultant with the New York Associates Division, so I place office support roles. I am a 2017 Indiana University Kelley School of Business grad. I studied marketing and business law, had those 2 majors, and then while I was on campus, I was a barista at Starbucks and was a supervisor, so learned to be in a fast-paced environment, and then also was the vice president of recruitment for an honor sorority I was in as well. So I got a little taste of recruiting there too.
Hi guys, I'm Jessica Prubin. I am a direct hire finance and accounting staffing consultant. I sit in the Chicago office. I graduated from IU just last year, so May 2019. I joined Beacon Hill in June 2019. And yeah, when I was on campus, I was involved in Alpha Gamma Delta sorority. I was a social coordinator chair. I did IUDM and all of those things.
But Carly, just as a side note for everyone on, Carly is a senior staffing consultant with Indy Tech, so she works with Krista as well. She started in 2016 and hit Top of the Hill and President's Club in 2019. So we're so excited for her. I know she probably can't hear me. What attracted you to staffing? And I guess how did it relate to your undergrad experience at IU?
So I kind of stumbled into staffing. After I graduated, I worked for a language school, and I was a teacher of English as a second language and beginning Spanish. And I kind of figured out that wasn't going to be my long-term thing. So I actually found like a posting for a campus recruiting job, and I thought that sounded really fun. And I interviewed, but they wanted experience, which I didn't have, but the recruiting just kind of stuck with me. And so I just kind of sought out recruiting roles and ended up, my first recruiting job was actually in accounting in perm. And I remember my first placement and I loved it and I was hooked, and then it just kind of went from there.
So while I was at Indiana, like I mentioned, I was vice president of recruitment. So got a little taste there. And then I also loved being in a fast-paced environment.
Majored in human resource management. So I always knew I kind of liked the people aspect of business. I came from a long family of sales, so I knew I would enjoy like the fast-pacedness of recruiting, but I wasn't quite sure where I would end up. During school, I interned in internal HR, and for any of you that may be majoring in HR, totally fine for some people. I think it was a little bit slow paced for me. I was kind of bored. So that's where I fell in love with kind of the recruiting piece of it. I was lucky enough to intern in the New York office for finance and accounting, recruiting for my last summer going into senior year with Beacon Hill. And then I ended up accepting an offer full time after I graduated.
Your role, maybe like a highlight of your day. And then if you could walk us through a recent placement or success, that would be great as well.
I am a senior account executive, so that means that I'm calling on different companies in the Indianapolis area, and I'm calling on specifically IT managers. So they could be on the application development side, they could be on the infrastructure side, they could be over different types of teams. So I'm calling on them to basically be able to, for them to give me a shot at their business, to be able to bring them IT consultants or to place people, even sometimes perm, in roles on their team. Probably a recent success. We're kind of in a global pandemic, so not every company, is maybe hiring as much as they were in some cases, but I do have one client that, for whatever reason, doesn't know it's a pandemic and has been hiring a lot lately, which I'm cool with. But recently, one of the managers came to me and said, "Hey, Krista, I need 5 BAs ASAP. And I've worked with them for 10 years. I've never heard them come to me and say, hey, we need 5 BAs. And we had competition, and our awesome recruiting team, including Carly, who can't maybe hear us right now, brought us, we had competition and we got all the roles. We filled them all.
I am currently with the New York office, so it is a crazy time to be in New York, as you guys can imagine.
Right.
To incredibly fast pace, like waking up at 6 a.m., filling like 5 to 10 temp jobs in the morning before you even walk through the doors. And that's what I loved about the job. Now it's about those smaller wins that turned into bigger wins during COVID-19. So recently for me, we just have been really fast on our team about getting submittals in quickly to clients and like top candidates as well. So we had a temp job come in that's a part-time, long-term temp scheduling assistant, basically for a tech startup here in the city, because they're going through a lot of recruiting apparently right now. Same as your client, Krista, they're hiring a lot. Who knew?
Right.
They need someone to help schedule. And my candidate, I tried to submit her ASAP because I knew she was the one. She didn't have the skill set exactly that they were looking for, but I knew she had the transferable skills and had the personality for it. And luckily enough, the account manager was like, you have to meet with her. They met with her, they picked her, and now she's on that assignment and working part-time.
So I am a direct hire financial consultant. So I operate what is called a full desk, meaning about 50% of my time is split where I'm calling on clients, trying to get them to, as Krista said, give us a shot, let us, kind of fill any open jobs they may have currently or upcoming. And then the other 50% of my time is spent just actively interviewing good candidates in the market. My first client during the pandemic, which is kind of funny.
Wow.
And they're a small, like 20-person CPA firm in Chicago. And I've actually had 2 placements with them, one in audit and one in tax. That just happened last month. And it was exciting because, obviously it's a weird time in the market. A lot of people are losing their jobs. So in order to be able to help somebody was awesome. And the fact that it was, I kind of got to own the process from beginning to end with my own client for the first time was super exciting.
Hannah, do you want to talk a little bit about training and what it was like for you?
A lot of shadowing. There was a lot of online trainings as well with eRecruit, our system. And then I think the most important thing was just like jumping in and just kind of going with the flow was so important because it was incredibly fast paced. I think we were seeing like the busiest summer we had ever seen when I started.
Oh, wow.
Which was amazing. And it just got busier until, of course, March 2020. But I think even if we have new people starting during COVID-19 and starting remotely, it's been great with training because they've been able to do very structured and just kind of shadowing candidates and also clients and kind of just being on those meetings as well. It's been very interesting. I think they're learning a lot.
So Krista, I'd love for you to kind of kick us off and talk about your career. You've had an amazing career here, where you started and then into, where you are at today.
So yeah, like a lot of people at Beacon Hill, I started my career in staffing on the recruiting side. Now, once I started at Beacon Hill, I was already in sales. But yeah, I started out as an account executive. And now I'm a senior account executive, in that role. I have some strong relationships with clients, some of whom I've worked with for a decade, which is crazy. But then as part of my role, I'm also, helping to train, our newer people that come in, whether in our office or in our region. I still do recruiting too, especially when we're trying to fill higher level, like manager, director, VP roles at our clients. So I still, keep my hand in recruiting, which is, I still love, I'll always be a recruiter. But yeah, so that's kind of been my, career growth and I love it. It's still a great company, 12 years later and growing. So
it has been a year and 2 months now. And when I first started out as an associate consultant where I focused predominantly mostly on the candidate side. I was really trying to fill the people on my team's role so they would get in the job and I would just try to find the best candidates for them. I was lucky enough to be able to hit Rookie Club just based off my billings from just the candidate side. And I also got promoted into a consultant position, which is what I'm in now. And since in that role, I have really been trying to work more on like the business development side.
I graduated IU in 2016. I was an event management and hospitality major with a marketing minor out of the Kelly School of Business. And I think I got a business certificate too.
So on campus, I mean, I was involved heavily in the School of Public Health, which is where my major was. I was part of the Student Event Planners Association. I was part of the alumni tour group too. When people would come back and visit the School of Public Health, I would take them around. And then I also interned for Dr. Julie Knapp, who runs the internship program for that major within the School of Public Health. So those are probably the biggest things I was involved in. So I started and I was a regular staffing consultant for 2.5 to 3 years, I think. And then last year I got promoted to senior in 2019. So yeah, I mean, I would just say that my favorite part of the role, which kind of ties back to the major, is just it's people focused and it's relationship driven, but it's very goal oriented and motivating. And that's why I love that part of it. I knew I wanted to do something with people, but the sales aspect and how they kind of go together, that's really my favorite.
Obviously, it would be the fast-paced environment, but not just that. I also get to talk to new people every single day and just meet new people every single day, which is probably my favorite part. But otherwise, I mean, just being able to help someone and be a resource for them in their job search, especially now, since it's so difficult to find something that you might be looking for. So it's been great and it's been very rewarding in that way.
What is your favorite office or Beacon Hill tradition?
I think it would be between two things. Number one, our wonderful holiday party. It's indescribable. Most companies don't do real holiday parties anymore. It's an amazing trip out to Boston, which is our headquarters, and the entire every office, every employee is flown out there for a wonderful weekend in Boston with a spouse or significant other.
Just the people too. On Fridays, we'll have, happy hours. We, celebrate promotions. Everyone's on each other's side, which is just amazing to see you're working with your biggest cheerleaders, really.
I think for New York, every year we do a associates Christmas party. So the perm and the temp team get together and it's either a happy hour or we've done brunch in the past as well.
As of now, I would say I just really love, in general, my team is super supportive in every time I do something big, when I got my first client. Well, we obviously celebrated via Zoom, but when I got promoted, we went out for drinks. When it's everybody's anniversary, we go out for drinks and just hang out. So I would just say in general, similar to what Hannah said, just how supportive everybody is and how much everybody wants to celebrate everybody's little accomplishment.
If you could describe your Beacon Hill staffing experience using one word.
I mean, I guess phenomenal.
Say motivating.
I would say success.
Eye-opening.
Oh, this is a good one. What drove you all to Beacon Hill above other staffing companies when you were looking into recruiting positions? So this is a good one, especially if you were in the job search and you were interviewing at other staffing firms or for other sales companies. I don't know if anyone wants to speak on that specifically. Does anyone have a good
I will.
Okay, great. Go ahead, Krista.
So since I was already in the industry in technology consulting and staffing, when my company we'd been bought a couple times at my last company. And so it was okay, time to start looking. The culture had changed at that company. And when I started looking, it was kind of I already knew all the companies I didn't want to work for. I knew their reputations. I knew, I didn't want to go to those other places. And it just so happened that Beacon Hill was new in the market in Indianapolis. They had just opened a new office in 2008. And so a couple of people that I knew, when they found out I was looking, they're like, hey, there's this new company called Beacon Hill that's opening in Indy. And I loved that they were brand new, that it was going to be starting from scratch. We only had 6 offices in all at Beacon Hill at the time I joined. So it's exciting to be part of a ground floor, starting a new office where we didn't have a bad reputation coming in. It was all about me selling Beacon Hill, and it just grew from 6 offices then till now, over 55 plus offices.
And the biggest thing for me, was like, oh, I know Beacon Hill's the right fit for me. And I've answered this before, is like the people. Like, I just had a great connection with everyone. I'm like, these are just really genuine, authentic individuals. And I could tell, like, they had the same work ethic as me. They wanted to be successful, but they also wanted me to be successful. I always tell people, like, you really have to be hungry. You really have to want this. You have to give 110% every single day to be successful in this role. And I loved how Beacon Hill is very clear in their communication on the expectations, what you have to do to be successful. I remember when I started, I'm like, I literally want to get promoted and hit Rookie Club ASAP. Tell me exactly what I have to do. So I love how upfront and clear they were with that. But then also, like, my team was so supportive in achieving those goals. So that was the big thing for me, where I was like, okay, I know Beacon Hill's the home for me from, like, the culture, standpoint, and, like, the people that work here too. So I don't know if anyone else has anything to add to that too.
I'll add one more thing too. I remember interviewing with Jeff Rosen, who is is one of the VPs within Beacon Hill, and I remember we just really connected, and he had been in this industry for a while too, and so Beacon Hill just sounded different than other places that I knew about. And I remember him telling me about, wow, we have this awesome, 10-year trip that you can win if you are with the company for 10 years. I remember thinking, okay, that sounds great. But part of me was kind of like, yeah, we'll see if that, like, really happens, if they really have that. And now, I mean, I went on my 10-year trip, a couple of years ago, and, people go on a 15-year trip or a 20-year trip. Like, it's amazing to see that Beacon Hill really, they keep their promises, and they have everything that I've been promised from the beginning. They've, stuck to, which is exciting.
In your career, how has the tech industry changed, throughout your time? Has anything changed that you're like, ooh, okay, this, even probably from last year, this year, but I think kind of like overall, has anything kind of really stood out to you in terms of changes?
So in the tech industry, there is always something new. I learn about new technologies all the time, even being in this industry for a long time. You not only learn more about the tech industry, like I can think about when I first did recruiting. I mean, it didn't used to be that you had like whole security teams. It used to be that, like, in the infrastructure side, you might have kind of people that also did security. Now you have like whole security teams, or you have, just the level of building software has changed so much now that you have like the Googles of the world and these companies, and the way that the user interface looks, like these companies want to model that. And so the level has definitely changed, which means because technology is now so important, more important than it used to be, 20 plus years ago, because everyone uses it. Now these companies need more people, which means they need us, which is a good thing. There's literally not enough people in IT for certain types of roles. Like, it's literally like a negative, unemployment. So it can be very hard. On the flip side, it can sometimes be hard to fill some of the roles that we fill, but it makes it a challenge. And we're always busy. I mean, even during this pandemic, Indianapolis has had our best month ever just in this last month. So you're not only always learning about technology, but you're always learning about how companies work and, problems that companies have, which keeps me interested.
I love it. And it looks like here that I think Hannah maybe might have answered this question, but I loved your answer, and I love for you to chat a little bit about it. So someone wrote in about your experience working in food, because I know you were supervisor at Starbucks, right? So talking about how that, when working in a fast-paced environment, and then how did that help you in terms of transitioning, kind of to Beacon Hill? If you want to kind of talk a little bit about, the customer service and tough situations and things like that, I'm sure everyone would love to hear about that.
Yes. Apologies. I don't know how to work the chat.
It's okay. No worries. Me neither. I just saw that. I was like, oh, okay, this is great.
Like, how do I reply to this? Okay. I don't know if this is for me or not. So yes, I was a supervisor at Starbucks, which on campus is the IMU Starbucks, and we serve, I don't even know what it is now, but we were serving over 10,000 people a week, and it was just insane. We had lines out the door that we got through quite quickly, and as a supervisor, you have to be in charge of like who does what, how fast is everyone going, and making sure like people are like moving. So I think that, you know, it was a fast-paced environment. As you can imagine, you get those particular customers in line that aren't exactly happy that there is a long line and you need to make them happy. So I think, you know, just that customer service mentality and, you know, smiling under pressure and just knowing that it's going to be okay and it'll be over sooner than you think, that really helped to transfer to my career in retail and then also in staffing now. So it was a lot of fun. And I just remember loving being on my feet and just, you know, being able to like move around and do different things, and time flew by when things were going fast. So
for sure. And I love the piece about like customer service. I always tell everyone, like, yes, this is sales, but we're not selling a product, we're providing a service, and it's a high touch customer service, and you're providing a solution. So to clients and candidates. So if you really love, like in your role, working with people, it was super fast paced, you know, like people were angry, but you're like, okay, let's figure this out. I'm going to provide, you know, this great service, try to give you a great experience. That's what it's all about here. And it's about building those relationships and making those connections and making sure everyone that you connect with, whether you're on the recruiting side or the client side, you know, has a really great experience with you in Beacon Hill. So let's wrap things up here. I know I want to be cognizant of everyone's time. Thank you all so much for joining us today. This was an amazing, amazing panel.